This is a brand new free-to-play Battle Royale game that they announced just yesterday. Oh yeah, and it also came out yesterday. A huge shout out to Apex Legends, also the sponsor of this video. Click the link in the description to download it now on PC, PlayStation, as well as the Xbox. I had a few hours to play this game at an event last week, talk to some of the developers, and get some inside information, which I think helped me going into this footage that you see here, which was from yesterday's live stream. So I wanted to put together this top 10 tips guide, but start from the beginner's perspective, because I know everybody out there is new. Some of these things may change over time, and you keep an eye on the comments. And if you like this and want to see more tip videos from me over time, let me know and we can do that. Without further ado, my first point is there is no fall damage and no team damage. No matter how high up you go, it's heads. The most important thing is to keep your team alive or grab that banner if they do go down. Tip 2 is hold, jump to climb. One of the best things about the Pathfinder character is that he can get up virtually anywhere to get flank routes and catch people by surprise, as well as just to get in more advantageous position up high somewhere. There's a lot of cliff faces that you'll see people on top of that just jumping you're not able to get to. But if you run up to it and hit your jump key and hold it down, your character will start to climb. This is also applicable to getting on top of buildings and roofs. It'll take a few tries, but keep running at that wall and look for a ledge or something that you can grab onto. The character will properly vault, get on it, and that'll give you another chance to jump, wall run up, and reset. There's no proper wall running in this game, and not all ledges work, but there are a lot that you can climb up on to give yourself a better position. The third tip is to only loot the correct items you need. This will obviously save you time, but also save you the hassle of trying to deal with your inventory later. If you have any ammo in your inventory that you can't use, you'll see that red circle. Drop it out of your inventory unless you're saving it for a specific gun you're trying to find, and it'll help open up your inventory. For heals, you have a small heal, full heal, as well as a small shield and full shield, with the Phoenix kit being full on both. Don't get too carried away carrying tons of meds, especially when you get big backpacks. And remember, these are also stackable, with those bars at the bottom of each item being how many of those items can stack on top of each other. If you're trying to open up some inventory, look to drop items that are. When looting attachments, the UI that pops up will show you which gun they're going on if it is something that you can use. If not, it'll just go into your inventory, and unless you're saving it for that same position, it'll confirm it and let that other teammate know. Since this game is only playable as squads, it is incredibly valuable for you and your whole squad to be working together. In the same sense, it is critical that you ping where enemies are. Even if you're on voice comms, having a direct ping of where an enemy is more your shield. The knockdown shield makes it so if you get knocked out, you can actually self-revive, and the backpack makes it so you take healing items much faster. Take advantage of these benefits, but also watch out for enemies who have that knockdown shield. If they activate their knockdown shield while knocked, you'll see a golden bubble around them. If they get knocked out, don't let them crawl away from you, and don't go chasing after the teammate prior to finishing this guy. From my experience, they can't have that shield on while they're self-reviving, and it takes a few seconds for them to stand up, so you want to take them out in that window, or do a finisher if needed. But if their partner is trying to bait you away, you could run into more problems if you let this guy self-revive. Coming in for tip 7, in addition to gold armor, there's also golden guns that you need to know. There's a Mastiff shotgun and a Kraber 50 cal sniper rifle that you can both pick up from care package drops. These are extremely powerful weapons. However, they are limited on ammunition, and the ammo doesn't actually take up an inventory slot. Whatever ammo is in the gun when you either pick it up off the care package or pick it up off someone else's body is how much ammo is in that gun, and it cannot be replenished. So if you're starting to get low, it might be worth it to even trade out that gun so you can go into a fight having 2 guns ready in case you need to switch in the middle of fighting. There's also golden guns that you can find on the ground, though. Typically, these are found from hot drops only. They come with all of the best attachments for a gun, and it can be any of the different guns. Those will still take ammo that you need to find on the ground and have in your inventory. It can be replenished. However, you cannot take these attachments off of the golden gun. Now let's get a little bit more into gameplay, with tip number 8 being some of the best weapons so far. Initially, balance is hard to figure out, but there are some guns, at least on day 2, that I think are a little easier to use, especially for a beginner. The gun I think currently is the best is the Peacekeeper shotgun. Compared to the shotgun pistol, it has 6 rounds rather than 3, and packs a much heavier punch than the auto shotgun. On top of that, if you get the choke for it, you can actually hold down your aim down sight button, tightening the spread of the gun over a 3-second period. That will then nearly one-shot somebody if you can be accurate enough. Your goal in this meta is to just not have to reload and be a sitting duck. The shotgun does so much damage, and you can pace your shots out that while somebody else is running away or trying to reload, you can out-damage them. And of course, it's a shotgun, so it's also much more forgiving if you're not completely on. My second recommendation is the LMG. Obviously, better for medium range. Can kind of get away with some pop-fire long range. But if you do end up in a close-range fight, the same mentality is there. You're not having to reload when somebody else with an 18-round SMG or assault rifle is. Even if you just need to get up close and barrel stuff from hip fire, you have so many more rounds in your magazine, especially if you get an extended mag for it, that you should be able to win the fights, especially if they go long. If you are insane at aiming, then it might be worth checking out something like the Wingman or the Longbow, which you can get increased headshot multiplier on with the right attachment, with incredibly high single-fire damage are some of the best options. Tip number 9 is for unique equipment that you'll find in this game called the Accelerant. This doesn't go into your heal slot or your equipment slot, but it's something you actually have to pull your inventory up to take. Many people I've seen just leave it in their inventory thinking that it's working in the background, but this is a one-time use item that will decrease the cooldown of your super by 20%. Depending on which character you're using and the situation, it's very dependent on when you want to use each of the supers. Except for Lifeline. She calls in a care package every time hers is ready, and her ability takes quite a while to recharge. It's important with her, as soon as that ability is ready, to call it in, so that way you can start getting your next one charging up. If everyone on the team gives these accelerants to Lifeline, she can call in more care packages for the team, especially if you don't have the extra inventory room to just carry these around for later in the game. You also often, at the end game, don't have a lot of extra time to just be taking these types of items. If you're in a top 3 situation and wipe out an enemy squad, you can bet that that other team is going to be immediately pressuring you. Funneling these over to Lifeline can help set you up for a good endgame. Even if you don't have a Lifeline, though, just prioritizing these to the right member of your team can be a benefit. For example, Pathfinder has a very quick recharge on a zipline. And unless you're trying to get up to somewhere high or reposition quickly, it's better off in the hands of a Gibraltar who can call in an additional airstrike on an enemy team. And finally, tip number 10, play Central Zone. This is highly situational, but it is a good general rule of thumb. If you're not having to deal with the zones, it's one less thing to worry about. If you have a Pathfinder, you can also have him get to towers and determine where the next zone is by hacking in. Some of the very end-game zones can move quite quickly, and being caught out having to heal and shoot is extremely bad to deal with. If you have a Caustic with you, it becomes even better. Get inside that final zone and start throwing your gas traps out early inside of buildings. That area denial will make the teams that are coming in late feel a lot more pressure. Plus, if you're there long enough, you'll get a recharge and can throw even more gas traps down. And if you get lucky enough, you get in the next zone and those traps will still be applicable and you can put even more down. While playing Central Zone does increase your odds, it doesn't necessarily guarantee it. So always be ready to adapt and pay attention to when those zones update so you can start making decisions. And if you do find yourself caught out of the zone, know that you can out-heal it quite easily. And you can even use it to get some great flank routes and drop on people in unexpected ways. If you found these tips helpful, give it a like, and if there's anything I missed, let us know in the comments down below so we can use this as a way to learn with each other on the game. Also, if you get any incredible clips in this game, send them in. Link in the description to submit your clips to my Top Play show that I do every Monday with bonus episodes throughout the week. And I'd love to feature more of this game. Again, a huge thank you to Apex Legends for sponsoring this video, and I'll see you guys out there. This is StoneMountain64, over and out.